technology education. That was an interesting question by Amanda, because actually she just wants to find out.
Thank you very much, technical team, for interesting montage. For all the viewers, for your information, Center for Modern Languages is a service center, academic service center located in at University Malaysia, Pahang, and we offer services for engineering undergraduates in this university. We are a small center here, but we have big ambition. We would like to be the leading player, perhaps, in providing educational opportunities for people who are from the East Coast to continue their tertiary educations over here. We woke up in the morning with very high spirit that one of the Asian team, Morocco, has made it to the next round, quarterfinal. So I believe everybody is so happy today. At least we have representative from Asia. To continue the program today, I'd like to invite Dr. Mus'ab, Dr. Muhammad Mus'ab, director of this webinar, to give a welcoming speech. Please welcome Dr. Mus'ab.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Am I clear? Is it okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Just to make a bit of a correction there, Dr. Adnan, Magharibi is Africa, not Asia.
Oh, okay. Well, that's very close to Asia. Okay.
Yeah, it's Northern Africa. But thank you very much. Thank you very much to all the panelists that has spent their time to be with us today. An effort. I appreciate it very much to the panelists, to all our three panelists, and also to the team that has been working non-stop to have the webinars that has been held by the center, well, twice actually. This is the second one. The first one was for the postgraduate students. Sorry, I'm a bit under the weather today. The second one is today, which is on language learning and teaching practices in the era of post-COVID. So we are talking about effective instructions and how to augment face-to-face and online learning. So as we all know, the pandemic has enforced all of us to embrace digital technology into our teaching and learning processes, and thus it is not all smooth sailing, as we all know, and there are some issues and some success stories that has happened during this pandemic era. And it is my hope that, and I believe it is our hope, that today's discussion forum will enlighten all of us moving forward after this, in the hope of looking forward after the pandemic era on how should we pose our and how should we develop effective instructions using both the face-to-face method and also how technology plays a role in making sure that at the end of the day, the students benefit from what we do in our classes, whether it be online or on any face-to-face platforms or online platforms. I think I would end my little speech there. Thank you very much. My sincerest, heartfelt gratitude to the team for making this work, and let's go on with the webinar then. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Muhammad Mus'ab. Dr. Mus'ab has been so hardworking for the past couple of months to have this program. This is the second time of the year we have this program. And we had discussion once a week throughout WhatsApp medium, and we meet face to face. But Alhamdulillah, we materialized the plan that we had a few months ago. It happened again, Alhamdulillah. Dr. Musab, the goal scorer, the last top scorer, the last scorer for Morocco team was Ashraf Hakimi, and sounds pretty Malaysian name, so that's why I thought he's from Asia. Okay, right. To begin with, I'd like to give a bit background of our panelists today. Okay. Firstly, I would like to briefly share background of our distinguished panelists today, Professor Dr. Zaida Tuntasir. She's a professor of educational technology at University of Malaysia School of Education, Faculty of Social Science and Humanities, UTM. She was also the Dean of FSSF for the 2019-2022 academic year. She was also the chairperson of the Malaysian Deans of Graduate School Council, MyDEGS, from 2016 to 2019, and also the Dean of the School of Graduate Studies at UTM from 2013 to 2019, and also the leader of the CITE UTM Research Group. And during the academic year 2018-2019, she was the member of the Future Ready Curriculum Task Force and facilitator for the Ministry of Higher Education. She was also Deputy Head of Education and Human Development Cluster, Higher Education, Academy of Professors Malaysia. Sorry, she is the, Professor Prof. Zaida is the Deputy Head of Education. And specialized in personalized learning, learning analytics, online and mobile learning, education 4.0, online social learning, though are among her area of interest and specialization. And in 2019, she was named as one of Malaysia's top research scientists and the ACRI winner, immersive blended learning. So we are so grateful, we are so honored to have you here this morning, Prof.
Hello, everybody.
We also have the panelists from UKM, Associate Professor Dr. Harwati Hashim, Center for Innovation in Teaching and Learning, University of Malaysia, Pahang. I've got long list of resume that I will not be able to cover all about Associate Professor Dr. Harwati, but she is actively published in high impact publication and WOS. In 2022, I have seen a long list of publication even in 2022, this year alone. I would like later that Harwati can tell more about her research area afterwards. And also we have the third panelist from Center for Modern Language, University of Malaysia, Pahang. Dr. Azmi Arif has about 20 years of education and research experience on upon completion of his doctoral degree in TESOL, specific interest is on e-learning and English for specific purposes, ESP in the aspects of learning and teaching, and also research at higher education. And he has also conducted several successful research and publication on those areas. And research interests and specialization include design and development research, DDR, Fuzzy Delphi method, FDM, and ICM PLS. And recently, we much involved in MOOC, more gamification and Apple ecosystem as part of pedagogical approach to teaching and learning. And Dr. Arif is also a certified Apple education trainer. And okay, that's for our doctor for the third panelist for today.
Recording in progress.
To begin with, I'd like to recall some literature back in 2001, Prof. Something like Introducing Digital Native at that time by Mark Fransky, 2001. Right? And he said that back then, digital native, our students today as in back then 21 years ago, are all native speakers of the digital language of computers, video games, and internet. Right? And we who were not born during those years, we will call digital immigrant. As if we were born in Malaysia, we migrate to New Zealand, so we were immigrant in New Zealand. So in this native digital world, we are the digital immigrant. Okay. Interesting questions. The two concepts that I believe represented probably most of us today. We also have the younger viewers who are born within that digital native year of, okay, the date of birth, right? So I like to begin with, I like to start this by asking what is the so questions to Prof. Zaida for it. What is the individual view of the usage of online technology in the process of teaching and learning? How do you see use of technology in teaching and learning, online teaching and learning?
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Abdullah Adnan Muhammad. First of all, I have to use my headphone because there is a construction suddenly around my room. I'm not sure why. So if I'm using my built-in microphone MacBook, I believe might be you will hear together lah, the sound around me. First of all, thank you very much, UMP, specifically to the Center of Modern Language. That inviting me to be one of the panelists today. And of course, together with me, we have colleagues from UMP, Dr. Azwin Arif, and also from UKM, Associate Professor Dr. Hawati Hashim. Interesting questions on the uses of online technology in the process of teaching and learning. Might be a little bit my points of view might be a little bit biased because my background is educational technology. So a little bit just to say a little bit on the uses of online technology in the process of teaching and learning. If we look at a different context, if we look at the global context, the use of technology, online technology in the process of teaching and learning, for me is actually is a must. And it's actually a compulsory, not only because of during we having our COVID-19 pandemics, but it's actually a must since we supposed to use it since I think 1990, since 1995 and so on, because I experienced it when I did my master degree in United States. I actually attended few courses online. There was in 1997. Okay, and I believe in 1997 in Malaysia at that time we had been introduced with web-based instruction, not yet on totally online learning environments, but we have part of e-learning. I think at that moment it's WebCT, LMS, and as an additional supporting of face-to-face learning. But if you talk about online technology now in the process of teaching and learning, the use of it has totally reach up to the level of replacing the face-to-face teaching and learning, and we must be ready on this. And because it's not totally new, using the online technology totally to replace face-to-face teaching and learning nowadays in higher ed, it's not a totally new process, because it has been introduced before this through program that been offered as open distance learning program. And some of us thought that open distance learning program is totally based on the theoretical based program. That, for example, the engineering program cannot be offered through online totally, and like medical cannot be offered totally through online. But I believe we have to be open a little bit on how other countries are using it, offering open distance learning program for the engineering, for the medicals, and so on. Okay, in 1998, I still remember, okay, when I did my master's in US, we visited hospitals in California, which is actually in 1998, a doctor is actually performing an operation where the patient is not in California. The patient is in Las Vegas. So they are using a robotic, everything and so on. So that is where usually in online learning, in the use of technology in any work or especially in education, the one that reluctant, the group of people who really reluctant to use it, those working in medicine, that is where you can see that they are totally disbelief on the capable of technology in medical area. But then of course, in nowadays you can see that there are so many developments of the use of technology in medicals and medicine, and this is where I believe the use of teaching and learning, the use of technology in teaching and learning is focusing more on learning, not teaching. As what we can see, that online learning is not online teaching, but of course, in Malaysia, I'm very grateful. I'm not really grateful because of we having a COVID-19 pandemic, but COVID-19 pandemic has forced everybody to go or to try on online learning because we don't have any other option. We cannot meet our student face to face. The only mediums that we can meet our student is through online medium. And it have been forced everybody to just jump into online learning. I still remember at that moment, I'm still the dean of the faculty. I received quite numbers of concern, rejection from all the staff, especially the senior one. They just want to wait till the COVID-19 pandemic dismiss and everything, and then they just want to postpone their classes and so on. But later on, we experience it, isn't it? The 17th of March is our first PKP, our MCO. Then from day to day, week to week, month to month, and year to year, and we cannot just let it go, and we have to use the online learning. So I believe the COVID-19 pandemic has forced and make everybody experience in using technology in teaching and learning, and it must be continued. Okay, the one that I received this year among my academic staff is that when we started our semesters on October, and then of course some of them are really happy because they will meet the student back face to face. Then of course, but however, some of the students, they don't want to go back to the campus. They want to stay at home, and they keep asking the faculty, do we going to have an online class again or what, and so on. So you can see that within that 2 years, the implementation of online technology in the teaching and learning have changed the mindset of the student. Okay, we started with the mindset that we disagree, we disbelieve on online learning. But when they experience it, we give them trainings, we give them how to use technology effectively in teaching and learning. We actually train our academic staff, we give all the support, and suddenly we receive a new ways of thinking among the lecturers. For example, okay, I believe UMP is not working during Sunday, but Johor is working on Sunday. And Sunday this time around, this semester, we have quite numbers of holiday for Sunday. Last time our PRU, isn't it? Our Prime Minister gave us leave on Monday, but suddenly Johor gave a leave because of JDT won Malaysia having, I think, a game during that that on Saturday night. So when we having holiday, quite numbers of holiday on Sunday, another things that a challenge that we face is that when the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Higher Education, release instruction to all the universities saying that you cannot have assessment on Sunday and Friday, isn't it? Because that time might be our student is actually performing their religious activities and so on. So, and suddenly now when I actually discuss with my staff saying that, okay, we're going to have so many holidays on Sunday and make sure that everybody will replace their classes and so on. And they suddenly they say that, okay, we can do online. That this is the words that I'm so happy to hear it. But of course, although I'm happy to hear that everybody believe on using online technology in the process of teaching and learning, but I'm still actually worried on the qualities of having online learnings among the academic staff and also the student, because the one that we must focus is on learning. And using the online technology in the process of teaching and learning is not just sharing your PowerPoint slide, let the student watch the YouTube video, and we just actually give everything. We just dump our notes in our e-learning system. No, for me, the use of online technology in the process of teaching and learning is go beyond that. We have to transform the learning activities. We have to transform the way that we teach it to the student. We have to transform on the assessment. The assessment is a very important part of when you use technology in teaching and learning. And we have to be ready with all the what you call it, the consequences behind it. And the most important tips that I would like to share with everybody, when we agreed to use online technology in the process of teaching and learning, it's not totally about us as an instructor, it's about the student. So we must put our trust, and we have to 100% believe that the student is actually responsible of their own learning. And throughout the use of online technology in the process of teaching and learning, because we focus more on learning, so this we indirectly we inculcate accountability among the student. So this is where I believe COVID-19 has been a gateway to prepare all of our educators in Malaysia and around the world to be a future-ready educators. And I believe it should be continued. And of course, no doubt, face-to-face is the best teaching and learning methods, but we also have to agree that online learning have capables in inculcating soft skills, independence, thinking among the learners, and so on. We have to leverage on this, and this is where, for me, nowadays, yeah, it's we no longer need to wear masks or when we go anywhere. But of course, we can meet the student face to face. But of course, we should actually use online technology in our process teaching and learning, and keep using that, combine it, make it blended with the face-to-face, and find a way, because now we have, when we decide to use blended, we have to innovate new ways of teaching and learning that combine the online and the face-to-face. The simple techniques that supporting the online and also the offline learning face-to-face is using the flipped classroom. I believe when we go for blended, flipped classroom concept easily can be implemented in our teaching and learning, because usually prior to the face-to-face class, we can give all the reading materials, all the things to the students through the online platforms that we have in our university, e-learning and so on. We give activities. We have to be creative enough to design an activities so that when the student actually enter the class during face-to-face, we no longer going to teach them anymore. We just would like to verify whether learning take place, whether they actually learn something through the materials that we give it to the online learning, and so on. And I believe higher ed should continue to use this and as part of it, because through online learning, we actually inculcate the 21st century skills or attributes among our students. So my individual views on the uses of online technology in the process of teaching and learning, it should be stay there, it should be remain it, and university also need to explore on offering a totally online distance learning program, UTM has been introduced it as a public university. This is our second year introducing our open distance learning program, totally 100% online. And I think this last month convocation, 250 of our first cohorts of open distance learning program has graduated. Beside that, for those who actually attend today's session, if you are dean of the faculties or head of department, it's a good income also, offering an open distance learning program as part of to survive in this nowadays situation where competition in higher ed is very high. And I believe preparing students with when they experience teaching and learning through online, we are preparing the future ready graduates. And nowadays workforce also actually hired people that not working in what you call it, in an office. They actually hired someone who not in Malaysia but maybe in Hong Kong, or might be other companies like in German. They are hired Malaysian people to work with them, but they did not need to go to German and so on. So this is where the future is now. And my word is that the future is now. Believe or not on online learning in terms of enhancing students' learnings and performance, I think totally most related to when you experience it, you have skill to use it, you be familiar with the tools, then your confidence level will be increased. So my view, it will be there, and it will be a part of the needs in higher eds. And the next that I would like to see is that the improvement on the curriculum, looking at the curriculum itself, not only on the methods of teaching and learning. That's all, Doctor. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Prof, for very insightful. I think you said it all, that online learning, they are here and they are here to stay. They will be with us for a long time, for the future, throughout the future. Okay, I'd like to ask Associate Professor Dr. Harwati your view about usage of online technology in the process of teaching and learning.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Abdullah Adnan. I think basically I do agree when Prof mentioned about the blessing in disguise of having this pandemic, this COVID-19, because before that we claimed that we are so good with online teaching and learning, and then when the pandemic came, everyone was panicked. I think I'm not excluded. I did experience those panic attacks when I so-called proudly say that I am a technology enthusiast, and then when the pandemic came, so it was like everything turns like, like crazy, because everything was like totally need to be revamped, and we have to view everything again in terms of the practice, in terms of the implementation, in terms of the delivery of the lesson, to make everything constructively aligned when it comes to teaching and learning. And because of that, I think it has somehow forced everybody to use online technology, also called technology in language in teaching and learning. And we cannot actually deny the power and the role of technology in making education relevant to this digital learners, because we want to make it relevant to their digital lives, as Dr. Abdullah mentioned just now, because we have different generation of learners now. We have, before this, we have Gen Y who are very confident with learning, and then we have Gen Z who are very competitive, and now we talk about the alpha generation who are already in the education system, who are actually very much of the decision maker. And who knows, in a few years' time, we're going to receive also the beta generation. Who knows what will they do with the world? I don't know, but we cannot deny the importance of using technology in making education relevant. That is what most important. I do agree when Prof mentioned about offering things in a flexible way of learning, because technology, one thing for sure, the great role of technology is when it offers flexibility to learning. That is what most important, what most generation want nowadays, because we can see this new generation. We're talking about Generation Z, who are the glass generation, who are already in the education system. We look at some of their characters, like they are very visual, they are very they need to be flexible, they love to collaborate. So those are the things that could not be, I would say, I wouldn't say not be done, but very limited if it is to be done totally face to face. So with the role of technology, it allows many possibilities for this new generation of learners with high demands in learning, making learning relevant to them, education relevant to them. I would say that technology has a great role in teaching and learning process. And I think we have to also consider how many of us know about otaku? Do you know what otaku is? Just to be honest, you don't know what otaku is, right? So because with technology, they have a great what do you call, opportunity of new phenomena, right? New trends. We have otaku. Otaku means the fan of something. The culture usually referred to anime. We have students who are very much enthusiastic about anime. We have those who are very gamers, and a lot of things that they could done with technology. And therefore, imagine if they were to enter into classroom, and then they have to just open book and learn. Those are the challenges that I would see if educators try to avoid using technology. So we have to somehow bring in positive possibilities with the use of technology in catering the demands of the new type of generation of learners. And we need to also understand that actually technology is able to provide students with access to large amounts of information. If we were to talk about language learning itself, how many of us can see that we have a lot of evidence students without learning with teachers, they can speak like native, right? Even if you know, abang buruh ladang, awak tengah down ke tu? Okay? His English is very good. Sounds like British. So God knows where he learned that from. And we have also a few students or young generations who are very keen of watching YouTube. They can speak like native, like British, like American. Those who are playing games at a very young age, they can somehow communicate with other people around the world in the game itself. So they have now immersively learning the language without being constrained by four walls of classroom. So imagine if we are teachers, if we are educators, we try to make students sit down and learn the way we were taught before. I think that was very much unfair to the new types of learners. So as I think I'm going to quote what Prof said just now, because we are technology enthusiasts, we are technology people, we may be biased of saying that technology has high positive impact in process of teaching and learning. And I think that one we could not deny. Of course, we cannot replace teachers, we cannot replace face-to-face or physical activities, but of course, with the power of technology, it could somehow shift the level of learning, become more effective, become more meaningful to this new generation of learners. Perhaps maybe Dr. Arif, my good friend over there, has also something to say. Okay,
thank
you
very
Dr.
much, Dr. Associate Professor Dr. Harwati. Okay, similar belief that technology is here to assist online learning, and that's the future trend. And we have a group of students who are categorized into that generations that who wants things very fast, rapid response, things like that. Almost instantly, they want to see results. Almost, right? Okay, Dr. Azmin Arif. So, how do you see usage of online technology in the process of teaching and learning?
Right, thank you very much, Dr. Adnan, and thank you very much to Prof. Zairatun and Dr. Harwati. Just to make it clear, that men man has limited numbers of words per day. So I believe most of the points are taken by Prof and Dr. Arwati already. But just to add with our discussion per se just now, I believe the keyword for this is actually currency. I'm not talking about the currency that we use in class section, but the currency between students and the teachers, students and learning situations. So when you talk about online technology, that will be the currency now. This is the in currency. So basically, students very much like to have, asking for online teaching or online learning, online session, for example. Like Professor mentioned just now, the mindset of the students, when finished with the post-COVID, sorry, we are in post-COVID, students were asking for classes, online assessments and whatnot. So the mindset changed before the COVID and after the COVID pandemic. Now, this is also not just to the students, but also to the teachers or the lecturers. I might tell you, by looking at the statistics, 2021 statistics, if I'm not mistaken, there are about 4,987,000. Let me check the numbers. Yeah, 4,987,000 and 401 teachers in Malaysia, all over Malaysia, teachers. And we have about 416,000, sorry, we have about 70,319, and that includes 1,092 teachers in universities alone. All right, so basically we're talking about a massive change of attitude, mindsets, and whatnot. But as we discussed just now, I can see that yeah, true. I'm also an enthusiast of technology, but that does not mean that I detest of this face-to-face. I also very much like to have face-to-face classes, right? But then again, the infuse of technology is still relevant. In fact, it's going to stay, like we discussed this now. So it's going to stay because nobody can deny that online technology or online information, it gives access to the latest, latest and the best information available. Now, for example, like football last night. Okay, who knows? I mean, I don't have I don't have the what call that, sir? I don't have the luxury to watch it last night. But the first thing in the morning, when I woke up at 4:30, I said, oh, see, I can see all the information. Now, this is by technology. Without technology, I don't think we can have all this information nowadays. But then again, when we talk about technology, they're always positive and negative. Students, for example, when we talk about teaching and learning, we do not know whether or not they are learning. So that is why we have to have a counter in terms of good assessments. And what Professor mentioned just now, and Dr. Hawati also mentioned just now, we have to look it in a broader point of view. Okay, and then what else? The technology-wise, when we talk about technology, I believe it helps us a lot, not just to the students, but to the teachers. We prepare information, we prepare our learning materials, for example. It's not like before. You have to put it in terms of, if you're in schools, you have to have this transparency, and then we move to PowerPoint. Nowadays, we no longer use PowerPoint. We no longer, some of us still use it, okay, but we move into a newer way of presenting. We use Canva, for example. It's more, how do I say, it's more flexible. It's more animated. Students like that. Okay, learners like that so much. And we also, for example, like us in the universities or higher education, it's also part of our way of upgrading ourselves in terms of producing materials for teaching and learning. Right? So if you ask me, that would be my points for here. Talking about the usage of online technology, I think we learn a lot, especially in terms of academics, like us teachers and whatnot. So we have to leverage on technology to teach the students. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Azmin Arif. So all the panelists agree that, yeah, online technology, they are gaining more important day after day, and it's going to be here, it's going to stay. And now the question is that I'd like to ask Prof regarding preparation for the instructor. Prof, I have to make confession that I'm an old school guy. Like I made joke with Dr. Azmi Arif, like I'm a mahjong paper guy, an old school guy. So I was those people who oppose the idea of online learning. But after 2 years, I kind of like it. I survived that teaching online, but still the satisfaction is not there. I felt like I'm not giving my 100% performance to the students. So I always have doubt. And now to move forward, you know, they say you can't teach the old dog new trick. But my friends, you're not dog, okay? Now I'm asking you questions regarding paradigm shift, you know, how to change individual people like me. Because like 20 years ago, I read about literature. They say those who were 45 and above age, they are sort of highly resistant to technology. Oh my God, I'm reading description about myself 20 years ago when I am now 48 years old. It's actually me. So how do we cope with that? When the generation like me, how do we survive for the next few years? Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. Actually, let me share my experience. Actually, how I actually embarked into this area of educational technology. Okay, when I actually done my SPM in, I think my SPM is 1988. Okay, 88. So when I'm actually joined UTM in my first degree program in 1989, because I'm actually straight from SPM and joined 5 years degree program. So I'm actually a batch that did not went through a matriculations or Asasi and so on, foundation and so on. So when I actually I actually registered into a computer science education program. Okay, at first I'm actually from Mata Perdana Sains Mara Junior Science College. And then, of course, during that time, I have 1 or 2 courses on computer. I actually hate computer subject during that time. Because people, as a human being, we thought that technology is a tool. When we thought a technology is a tool, it's something like when you interact with a tool, you're afraid that you might be going to make it, you did not know how to interact with it. You might be, if you type it, if you are in front of computer, you type everything, you might be you tend to feel that I'm afraid that might be your action towards the computer, it will make it destroy or anything. Okay, so actually this is the feeling that people, when you are not really a tech savvy, you have to know that you can do anything towards the software that in front of you, hardware and so on. Anything that you can just click anything and so on. It's not going to destroy that and so on. So the first, for those who's not tech savvy, you have to have a feeling that you would like to learn it. You would like to use it, experience it. I still remember Richard Felder mentioned it to most of I think educators. If you want to change, if you would like to try new thing, at least try it 3 times. Don't try it only 1 time. Okay, maybe you experience it, certain technological tools out there in your class, and suddenly a student did not interact on it, the student did not use it, the student did not like it, and so on, and then you stop. Don't ever I think stop when you first try it. Try it at least 3 times. And of course, when you experience it, you will feel confidence. And then the next stage that you have to move is that you have to be creative on using it. Okay, first you have to be expert to use the tools. And talking about expert using the technological tool, this is the what's makes some of our professors afraid. Might be you do a mistake in front of a student and you are using, let's say you use simple audience engagement tools like Mentimeter. Suddenly you use Mentimeter, you having challenges on to view the Mentimeter, and then you have a feeling on saying that the student will look down at you when you are not expert in using it. Okay, one thing that we have to change when we use technology in teaching and learning, we are not expert of everything. Okay, you are learning, you are learners, your student also learners. So you cannot just act in front of your student that you did not make a mistake. Okay, the not really a problem, but the challenges that we face in higher ed in Malaysia is that students actually look very high at professor, and they thought that professor is a perfect person, know everything, don't make a mistake, and so on. I believe that's not supposed to be the way nowadays. Nowadays, sometimes you learn from your student, and sometimes the student learn from you. So how to create that kind of culture and confident situation where you will feel comfortable in your class and so on. So how to create that kind of environments. You still gain respect from your student, but at the same time, you can do mistake. You can just easily say in your class, I did not know. We need to explore it together. I still remember, because I'm graduated from US, American University professors, if you ask them in front of everybody, they keep saying that, I don't know, Zaida. You have to find it by yourself. Yeah, they really did not know it. Can you teach me? It's the environments that I feel when I actually enroll into a master program in United States, in American University. I think this is where everybody is actually learning something, and we are completing each other. And this is actually, I think, the belief and the mindset that must be in our mind nowadays among educators. So first you experience it. The next time is that be creative on it, because technology is not just a tool. Technology is a part of knowledge. Might be some, yeah, because I'm actually kind of used to argue with people, especially people from the pure psychology background. They thought that technology is a tool. For me, technology is not a tool. Nowadays, technology is a tool, it's a knowledge, it's part of your life. Okay? I give you a simple example. If you thought that technology is a tool, easily you can go to bank. Nowadays, if you go to bank, you want to bank in money, and you bank in you want to deposit your money and so on. Some bank, they don't have any counter yet. They don't have any counter anymore. They just have a machine. Okay, you want to bank in money, go to that machine. If you don't have a knowledge to use it as part of it, then you cannot bank in your money. Okay, so this is where technology become a knowledge. And nowadays, we have to understand it very well. Okay, I'm actually have a kind of extreme thinking on the curriculum of higher ed. I'm actually kind of dislike on the way that we have a curriculum. We have a curriculum consists of courses. Because of we have a curriculum that consists of few courses that actually are standalone courses that are not integrated together. This is where make us thought that knowledge actually flow in a linear ways. Actually, knowledge is not linear. Knowledge is non-linear. Nowadays, we call it as connective knowledge. Technology has changed the paradigm and landscape of knowledge. Technology has made knowledge as a connective knowledge. What do I mean by connective knowledge? It's something like people in the language, in the English language, that teach English. You no longer have to teach English in your class only. Might be we have to integrate English class with other class, because in other class also they use English. They need English as part of, like, for example, introduction to engineering. They need to know English, but in terms of introduction to engineering. So this is where the integrated curriculum must be there. And if the curriculum is integrated, not actually run silos as different courses, and assessment is also integrated, this is where you can see that technology will play a part. Will play a part in it, where you going to use it, because yeah, there are two lecturers, one teach English class, another one teach introduction to engineering. If you're not using technology, how come you combine it? How come you integrate these two courses into one? So this is where first experience the tools. 2 years, I believe, is a good durations for everybody experience online learning, Zoom, Webex. Remember one thing, before COVID, nobody actually have confidence to use Zoom, isn't it? We thought that to do a video conferencing, we have to buy hardware up to 80K, 100K, isn't it? Now, we don't have to buy hardware anymore. The application of Zoom, Webex, Google Meets are already there before COVID, but nobody use it. Only those who are actually in open distance learning program, they use it a lot. Nobody actually believe on online meeting. But because of COVID, everybody afraid to see face to face, and then we believe on online meeting. Now we welcome online meeting. And some of the meeting, we thought that it's online meeting, but it's face to face right now. And we tend to asking that, can we do it blended? Can we do it blended? And so on. So online Viva, nobody believe in online Viva. But now the people are believing it. This is change of mindset. As what have been mentioned by Dr. Arif. Change of mindset, the currency. So those who actually experience 2 years using the tool, keep using it. Then along the way, you will learn the knowledge on the right way to use technology, to be creative on using all the tools out there, to change a little bit on your assignments that embedded with a technology, to change a little bit on your assessment part. How can you be creative on it? How to change a little bit also on what types of question that you will ask your student, because you know that student easily can just Google it and everything. So this is where, for me, those who actually not technology savvy, don't worry about it. I'm also make a mistake sometimes using technology in teaching and learning. I'm easily can say in front of my students saying, can anyone help me here? Because I never experienced this kind of the version of this application and so on. And they're willing to help you. They're willing to say it, and they will be proud that you part of they will be part of the teaching and learning. And one words that I would like to share with everybody, that nowadays learners is part of the co-creators of teaching and learning in your class, and they will be proud if you involve them in the teaching and learning process. It's no longer they just sit in front of you, accept everything that you will introduce to them. It's no longer that you are the center of the source of knowledge, because they can just easily get it from anywhere. But what you can do is that guide them to be professional, be critical enough, be meticulous enough in analyzing which types of information that they should refer, and why is actually the question that we keep asking the student, because technology cannot actually assist on answering why. So this is where I believe those who's not tech savvy, although might be you only know to use Zoom or Webex or Google Meet, that's enough. But then explore it more, learn it, try to learn how to design your learning activities that embedded with technology, and assessment embedded with technology. Then I believe that is a part of knowledge. That is a part of knowledge that we need to know. And technology is not just a tool, it's a part of knowledge, and has been penetrated in all disciplines, which is actually we have to change the contents of our curriculums. And I think this is where those who not really tech savvy can experience along the way. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you very much, Prof. Very interesting input. You mentioned a lot of concept. For example, learners are co-creator of the curriculum. So together we learn with the students. So I think that brings down the anxiety in instructors' mind that they have always to be perfect in front of the students. So I guess by doing that, it's okay to learn from each other, complementing each other. But of course, there are certain parts that we are guiding them toward achieving whatever the curriculum objective that we have. Dr. Harwati, Associate Prof. Dr. Harwati, your advice to the generation of the immigrant, digital immigrant, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Dola Anna. I think I very much agree with what all points highlighted by Prof just now. There is nothing to be afraid of, especially to the digital immigrants, because we could never compare our skills with the new generation of learners because they were born with it. Technology is their main necessity, like rice for them. They cannot live without it. So as we don't compete with them, as what Prof said, it has to be always complementing each other. We need to complete each other, and we have to learn from each other. I think what I like the most about amalgamating the online and face-to-face is because we have more time for us to sit down and discuss with our students. As I think learning has long time shifted from teacher-centered to student-centered. It's just that probably in terms of the implementation, there are always gray area about implementing it. With the help of the technology, we can somehow change from lecturing to the students. We can make everything online. So it allows more time for us to meet the students face-to-face and fully utilize the physical interaction for more higher order thinking skills activities with the learners. As what Prof mentioned about the cognitive, probably about the psychomotor, those are the things that maybe we can also add on the affective skills when we meet the students, so that they learn to appreciate more what they are learning rather than us giving all the time. So here for the more seniors educators, I think what need to be emphasized is on how we should scaffold learning. Because as what Prof said just now, it is no longer teaching. It is always about learning now. First thing first, change our mindset. We are no longer teachers. We are learning designers. So we need to design what is the best learning environment for our students to make it more meaningful and effective for them. We are not just talking about learning environment, we talk about meaningful learning environment. So with that, if we were to positively accept the important roles of technology and learn to scaffold learning, how do we actually design what is best for our learners, what need to be done for the, let's say, for the learning management system, what need to be structured. It is not, I do agree when Prof mentioned about learning management system is not where you dump everything. That is the wrong concept of learning management system. I was quite taken aback when when someone just came to me and say, LMS is easy. Once you have materials, you just upload everything. No, it's a no. You don't substitute learning management system with face-to-face lecture. Okay, it has to be structured. It has to be designed. It has to be scaffolded in a way that it helps our learner to think more, to gain the skills more, to obtain the knowledge more, because somehow we need the students to move from just thinking to thinking about thinking. It's more of higher order thinking skills. So if we were to just keep on giving the learners what we want to teach, they can always Google. The moment when we tell them something, they have started Googling and they say, okay, this is already in the Google. I can ask Pakcik Google. I can just now turn off my computer and I can play Genshin Impact. You don't even know what Genshin Impact is, right? I never played that. So we have to start knowing all this, yeah, with this new kind of generation of learners. So we need to make sure that the learners think meeting us is very significant. Our presence is significant in facilitating learning, in coaching them, in mentoring them, in gaining the knowledge, because we want them to see that they are the knowledge seekers. We are not the knowledge giver. They need to seek the knowledge, but we are here to always facilitate them. And one thing that I like about the integration, the infuse of technology is that it allows, actually, as I said, opportunities for communication and collaboration. We are now having this smart partnership relationship with our learners. We are no longer teaching them, but as what Prof said, let's just learn from each other. Now I have the content and you have the skills, for example. How do we map this together? And of course, for educators, it takes the pedagogical skills. So I think if you are afraid with the technology, maybe it is not about the technology. Maybe it is the pedagogical skills that we need to dig further. Because we are not here to teach them the technology. Remember, we are talking about, let's say, our context is in teaching language. We are not teaching them technology. We are the language experts. So we are trying to give them input or the acquisition of language. So if they were to laugh us about our technological skills, humorous, take it for fun. Yeah, we learn from each other. What do you want to learn now? How do you want to learn the language base? Okay, you want to play Plants and Zombies. Let's play Plants versus Zombies. How do you learn? By playing that games. How do you learn language? So give them, as what Prof said just now, they are the content creator. Either they are the content creator, they are the content curator. Let them be responsible of their own learning. Let them take ownerships of their own learning. That was most important today. We are not telling them what are you supposed to learn. We need to be transparent to them. These are our learning objectives today. These are our objectives. How do we learn it? We have to align with whatever assessment and whatnot, but let the students be responsible of their own learning, take the ownership. I think that is very important. And I do agree when Dr. Arif mentioned just now, it is actually an advantage for teachers. And when Prof mentioned, when the students need to learn English for engineering, how do we English teachers knows everything? Engineering, pharmacy, what do you call, so-called for hospitality. We don't have all jargons, you know? And they cannot expect us to be experts of everything. So with the help of the technology, actually, we can somehow get access to massive materials. Even if we are talking about time constraint, I think most of my friends say, I don't have time, I don't have time. Who said you need to find on your own? Ask your students to find. That's the key, because they are the content curator, they are the content creator. Let them find and let them tell you what they have found and share with us. And then proceed further with a higher order thinking skills activity, because that is what we are. We want to design something that is meaningful for them. So a lot of things that actually a lot of elements, a lot of things to be considered when it comes to infusing this technology into a teaching and learning process. But overall, nothing to be afraid of, regardless of whether we are Gen Z, Gen Y, baby boomers and whatnot, Gen X. We are all here as the subject matter experts. So we use the technology to deliver the objective. But it's the students' job to be able to look into how this technology is able to help them in the future or in seeking the knowledge, right?
Thank you very much, Dr. Harvati. Interesting concept that it's not technology that matters. Probably we have to look at the pedagogical skills that we have. Probably that requires kind of improvements that will become more confident. So let the technology be to assist us, and we play the role facilitating students when they come and see us, and make it a point that is important for the students after searching information by themselves, come and sort of verify, maybe come and meet us, because that's where we can make sure things are in according to whatever curriculum aim and objective. Okay. Now, Dr. Arif, what's your comment regarding? Okay. We all the viewers, we also have. If you have questions. Okay. If you have questions, you can type in the chat.
Yang pensan yang tak jadi ambil.
Technical, can you? Okay, yeah, so it happens in online environment. Okay. Dr. Arif, how can we equip our staff with necessary pedagogical skills so that learning process will be very effective for both students and also for us?
Okay, thank you very much, Doctor. Okay, much have been discussed actually. Talk about this, preparations in terms of how to impart knowledge into classes, classroom, and then curriculums and whatnot. But I do believe there are two things need to be adhere first. Two things. Yeah. Number one is maturity, right? Maturity, and number two is readiness. So I believe when we talk about maturity, it's not when you're getting older you're more mature, but the maturity means that to both facilitators or academics or teachers or lecturers and the students. So they need to understand that this is going to be the future. The future will lead to using technology to learn, or learning by technology, or actually, you're 100% on technology, depending on in technology. So both teachers and students, or facilitators and students, I believe what we should do, right? So first of all, we should ask them to, what's the word? Yeah, onboarding. Okay, so I had this experience doing with postgraduate master students by coursework. In fact, by the way, to the audience out there, so UMP, Pusat Bahasa, Center for Modern Languages, we had this our program called Masters in Science, Masters in Science Technology Integrated Language Study. What we had is we had one student, one cohort managed to pass fully online during the pandemic last time. So actually, there is progress, and therefore we actually can do it 100% online. But the point over here is we are looking in terms of teachers onboarding and students onboarding. Now, I had my experience, like Prof mentioned, and Dr. Howard mentioned that you have to let them become the co-creator. So what I had in my class, this is my experience. What I had in my class, that I give them some sort like a bit of lecture in which they can get it from online as well. But the most important thing is the task that I given them. So I love TikTok very much, but I don't have any content in TikTok. But I love TikTok. I love YouTube. I love videos for that matter, but must be some sort like something meaningful. It's not just looking people dancing and talking, but it's what the information, what exactly that they want to express. Those are makes me wonder a lot. So I was thinking, oh, the students should do this and this and this. So I may have a lot of experience in terms of teaching and learning, in terms of pedagogy, but the students who are learning, they may not have it. But what we can do is that we come up with a task so that they actually explore on how to gain the certain knowledge, for example, information. So we create the pathways. So like myself, what I did, I give them the task, but before giving the task, I give them examples and what I expect from them. So and then I let them go. So what they have to do is that they have to explore themselves. They explore, they come back to me, and then they show me examples, they go back and then rectify. So this is where, as a content creator, they are the one who doing the content creator, creating they are creating their new knowledge and share with us. And then what we can do is that we can say that, oh, this is good, this is better if you do this and whatnot. So that what we target, what we want for them to achieve is, they have a clear idea of what we want and how to achieve it. So those are the things we're looking at it. So I remember Dr. Anna mentioned that he is the mahjong paper guy. So for me, it's not an even issue. So we have the high tech and you have the low tech, but still it's a technology, right? So the moment you use markers or PowerPoint, I would say PowerPoint is high tech basically. Or maybe you can have your own video, for example. That's high tech right? So, but the thing is that students sometimes, even though it's technology, it's high tech, but it's like us human beings. We no longer. I'm not saying we are no longer, but we are getting tired by the latest technology. We are getting tired by the latest music industry. So we go back to the oldies. Dr. Hawati were questioning me just now, this morning, commenting me on the old songs. But see, the old song have soul as compared to the new songs, okay, new generation songs, for example. Sometimes when we are too infused with high techs, it can be that we step back a bit and then we enjoy the good old days. Teaching with a mahjong paper, all right, or not be mahjong paper right in front of them because it's online for that matter. What you can do is you have a video using mahjong paper. How about that? It's going to be interesting, right? Those are the things. And then when we talk about meaningful learning, I was hoping, by looking at the rate of nation at the moment, and then everybody, or in fact, in our university, in UMP, for example, we have faculty for computer, we have Center for Modern Languages, we have this Academy ADAP, for example, and then we have other faculties, engineering, technologies, and whatnot. Right? It can be more interesting if we can actually join JV, like Prof mentioned just now. Language learning for engineering and whatnot. But it is more interesting if, for example, we can come out with an environment. We have VR, for example, virtual reality. We have we have augmented reality, AR, VR, ER, for example. Let's JV with other faculties, right, and come up with a virtual environment where students can actually get into the environment of, it can be engineering, it can be social science, it can be anywhere. That's more interesting. So I'm looking forward, or in fact, I believe all the academics here in Malaysia, around the world, are looking forward on that. Okay, we're talking about this metaverse, right? So metaverse is, I'm not so sure. So we need to be really, we need to be, we need to be on the reality at the moment. So in Malaysia, maybe we have 10 years behind these European countries or American. So I was hoping, and I am really looking forward in terms of virtual reality, wearing that Oculus, talking to the environment, whereby the teachers can be somewhere else, but we are meeting in the same environment online. So that can be, something that we have to carry. All right, and then pedagogy. Yeah, true. When we talk about teaching and learning, or learning for that matter, or teaching for that matter, pedagogy comes into, pedagogy need to be beefed up. Okay, so it's good for us that we have all the materials online and we can actually curate it and then pass to the students. And like just now, we said that we have this LMS, students come out, we put all the materials and then the students had to learn on that. Okay, but the point over here, we need to understand that we are the facilitator, we are the content creator, we are the we are the one who creating the pathways. Okay, so I always put myself in the situation that if I were to be students, how would I learn this? Okay, so now we have these micro credentials. Okay, so I believe all the UAs at the moment now talking about the micro credentials, everybody's doing that and so on, right? And then jumping up from MOOC to MC, so you have more focus, a certain part of it, right? So so for example, like micro credentials. So I would say myself, how would I do this? If it is just having look at the videos, answer a few questions, and then you have these alternative assessments, would it actually attain to the objective? If it does, then it's okay. But then again, yeah, that is where the knowledge of pedagogy works. We need to know who are students. Are they visual learners? Are they, auditory learners? These auditory learners, we need to put in examples or tasks for listening. Visual learners. No, not everybody likes to listen to the lecture or videos. They like to read. I myself, I don't like to read. I like to listen to people. I am more on visual learners. You give me videos, short videos, not too long. Okay, you make it nugget star. So give me visual, give me videos, give me infographics. I learn more on that. And then you give me tasks, which is more meaningful. The point here again, like Dr. Arati mentioned, meaningful learning. Now, the meaningful learning, people keep on saying, this is one part of interesting. Yeah. Some people, they have different ideas of what is meaningful learning. So basically, it depends on how you define meaningful learning. So some of us would say that, okay, if it is in the same environment, a positive environment, and then the objective is there, clear objective, the students are ready to embark on it, and the teachers already also ready for it, and then whatever they have learned and attain to a new information, it can be meaningful. Yeah, it is possible. Now, for example, like us, for example, like me, myself, for example, in this university, I always wanted to see students can actually communicate. Future engineers engineers and technologists should be able to communicate clearly or effectively. Right? It can be in terms of reading, writing, speaking, for example, or presentation itself, for example. That is my target. Rather than they learn this back to the language learning, subject-verb agreement, for example, subject-verb object. No, those are what we call false start. Yeah? In an ESP, it's called false start, whereby they have learned through it from standard primary schools, secondary schools, and when it comes to the university, we don't do that anymore. Let's put it aside, because those are the things that they can learn on their own, or they can actually reflect back on their own. So what we have to do is coming up with a good task, good question, good task, good assessment, and from that they can only can they actually learn something new. So thank you, Doctor. That we might take.
Thank you very much, Dr. Arif. Very insightful ideas. I think among others, as instructors, probably it's the best if you could be in the shoes of the learners, trying to figure out how do they think and throughout the learning process. And by doing that, probably we can try to fulfill the needs, their needs. And also we can't work in silos. Probably we need to sort of benchmark or look at how others do their teaching, and probably collaborating among the faculty members. For instance, for example, in UMT we have got Faculty of Engineering and we teach language, and students belong to engineering faculty. So the content, authenticity of the learning material probably can be something from an engineering faculty, but language instructors probably we can learn from them, and we can design something suitable for the best interest of everyone. Okay, we would like to welcome questions from the viewers and panelists. We have viewers from many other institutions, and we have online right now. I think I've seen two questions. I can combine both. The first question, something like what doesn't work with the online that we become less effective, less effective instructions, I would say. Why does it so? And also to relate to that, we have the few questions here. We have primary education. Yeah. Hi, I'm Alisa, teacher from public secondary school. So we have questions from school as well. Schools, students having passive and reluctant contribute, perhaps because they are used to hiding behind screen. So how do teachers can deal with that situations when so the context is secondary online learning, teaching and learning. So yeah, what could we do in order to make it effective for the students, and also to make sure that they are participating well in the online activities? Prof?
Okay. Actually, yeah, we were students before, isn't it? When we attend our class, we tend to keep quiet so that the lecturers or the teachers not going to see us. This is due to because of the lack of self-confidence. Okay, so what we should do for this kind of students, we should actually trust them, give them opportunity to talk. In my class, I give you a tips in my class, but of course, yeah, we have to be realistic on this, because when we actually conduct totally online class, due to because of the lack of internet connectivity in some location, especially rural areas, of course, sometimes the student actually cannot speak because the line is so slow, and they are actually join the online learning using handphone and so on. That kind of challenges that we face in Malaysia, especially during COVID-19. And of course, some of them did not have a camera, video camera, so they cannot on the video camera and so on. This is a part that we need to understand on the challenges that they face. But what we can do to encourage them to talk is that, for me, in my class, for example, in my class, I'm only going to take attendance if they say, hello, doctor, I'm Zaida. Hello, doctor, I'm Amin. And then I say that, you attend my class. If they just keep quiet, if they're having problem, like for example, don't have a video camera, or they're having problem like internet line is so slow in their college, in their hostel, and so on. So I ask them to go to their friend's room, which is actually other building at the hostel that have very strong internet line and so on. So this is where how to tackle with the areas that they have not really a high speed of internet and so on. But try to talk with them, ask them to say and give activities that everybody has to talk. Maybe because I'm used to the situations in the most American university, when you attend class, your name is already on the table and everybody has to talk. If you did not talk, then you're not going to pass your class. And this is where the signal that you have to tell your student, be confident, okay to say something, okay to make a mistake in my class. And people in the class also, we need to give and expose them with rules and regulation, your class rule or regulation. In my class, nobody look down at others. Nobody can laugh if people make mistake. Okay, in my class, I say it, if you laugh at your friends make a mistake, I give you extra assignment. Okay. So give a positive punishment. I always give them positive punishment. Okay. So if you don't talk in my class, then I give you extra assignment. Then you need to meet me personally in my room. And so then you can have to talk in front of me, not through WebEx and not through Zoom. Then you have to boost up the confidence of the students. One thing that we have to know that Malaysian student tend to keep quiet because of culture, because of they keep quiet because they respect us. They don't want to just say they want not going to steal the thunder or anything that during the class session and so on. Because of respect, then it creates something that I believe is not really a good environment. If you send a signal to your class that everybody can talk, it's okay that the class is chaos, everybody can say anything, and then of course you can see the students can easily show the real personality of that student and they start to talk. And when they start to talk, you feel really proud on the words that they actually explain, and they can explain it very well. So this is where you have to boost up their confidence. You have to break the barriers. Break the barriers that you are the teachers, they are the students. We actually friends. I always treat my student as friends. That's why when I enter class, I introduce myself is that my name is Zaida. You can call me Zaida. No need for you to call me Pro Zaida. You can call me Zaida. My name is Zaida. My parents give me a beautiful name, Zaida Tun. You can call me Zaida. Why do you need to call me Doctor or Prof Zaida? But don't worry, they will call you Prof. Isn't it? Because Malaysian, and we have values and so on. But when you try to introduce yourself as using your own name only, without your titles and so on, then they start to trust you. They start to treat you as friends. And when they start to treat you as friend, learning takes place easily. And they can make a mistake. And learning from mistake is the best learning paradigm for me. For me, learning from mistake is something that will be there forever. So I suggest change a little bit your technique and tackle the one who just always keep quiet. Remember the names that always not going to say anything in the class. Then you have to tackle them and always try to ask them personally, might be message them, try first by texting everything. I think everybody experienced it using Zoom or WebEx. When we ask question, nobody say anything. But in the chat, everyone is typing. Okay? Because that is Malaysian. Not only because of the student, during our forum like this also, if we open for asking verbally, nobody will ask it. They will tend to type it and so on. So it's about cultures and everything. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Prof. Right, thank you. Yeah, so most important part is to boost or build up the self-confidence in students so that they will be able to take up challenges and they take time, efforts from the instructor, texting them individually, calling them. Perhaps it will work in long term. Okay, Dr. Harwati, maybe I would like to share how could we have secondary context of learning for the teachers and to deal with the students?
Okay, thank you, Doctor. I think they are very, it is a different context when we talk about students in primary, when we talk about students in secondary, as well as students in higher learning institution. Because students in higher learning institution, they are matured and they are always be responsible of their own learning. And I do agree as a language teacher, when it comes to secondary school learners, very much into screens and then they become so passive. I'm looking this from two different situations. One is either teaching and learning is done online, or teaching and learning is done physically, because now we are shifting towards physical classroom interactions or education. So I think this is where it takes teachers' creativity in getting the students to be able to speak in classroom, as well to get the students to be able to interact and engage in learning session. I think if I were to share personally, it is more of because when we were trained as a teachers, we were always being trained to look at classroom management. I think it doesn't work in today's education system. We have to focus more on classroom relationship instead of classroom management. Because when we manage, we are the manager. Everybody will have to listen. We distribute tasks and whatnot. But when we talk about classroom relationship, I like the idea when Prof mentioned about not all lecturers or not educators or teachers want to make their students as friends, right, Prof? So we have to change that mindset, because we are now partners. We want to have smart partnership. So even though with school children, secondary schools, primary schools, we have to make sure that we build the relationship with the students and we make them feel that there is no barriers that are challenge that turns into challenges which later on hinder them from learning and whatnot. And I think here, when it comes to online learning, probably it takes some creativities in terms of using various tools. If I were to share from my own personal implementation, I use a lot of wheels of names. If we were to talk about to make everybody speak, and we want to make sure that there is no dominant students who always speaks all the time, right? Especially in online learning, use wheels of names so that we want to make sure everybody has the opportunity to say something, and that is also a good tricks just to ensure that they are behind the screen, especially because when the names, because everybody's like, when I said, okay, I'm going to take out my wheels of names, so they were like, And I think as simple as when we talk about online, yeah, if you were to, when I first begin seeing my first semester students, all of them just shut down their camera, and I couldn't see anyone. It's just except you in the screen, as if like you are teaching yourself in the screen. Where is everybody? And then everyone will start saying, sorry, my camera is broken. I don't know, it's not function. My internet is a low bandwidth and what. I don't have strong internet connection. Okay, whatever. So, but then I was thinking, how do I make these students open their camera? And then I experiment the second time when I changed my virtual background into this Genshin Impact game. I changed my virtual background. Maybe you can just Google what Genshin Impact is. I changed and I study a few characters. And then when the first time in the morning, they saw me with that Genshin Impact background, they start asking, Doctor, do you play Genshin Impact? What character do you like the most? I was like, okay, luckily I studied a few. So I just goreng je lah, tembak. As if like kalau if my students are in the kantoi lah. I goreng my students. They say, okay, I play this, I love Jane and whatnot. The power is this and that. And then you can see everybody start turning on their camera with Genshin background. They're like competing with you. Now I have my background as well. So it is like for me it's simple, but it is an achievement for me for that day, for that particular lesson, to make everybody turn on the camera. So take simple thing as an achievement for me as an educator. You need to find something that is satisfying for that particular day. And sometimes we have to also be realistic, as what Prof said. Maybe there are really students with low internet bandwidth and whatnot. Allow various ways of accepting responses. If those who can turn on your camera and their camera and respond, by all means, that is the best. If not, you can put in the chat. If not, we have our Telegram group. You can also respond in the Telegram group. Why not? Even you can use reaction. Okay, those who cannot say anything, I need to see reactions. Love, please. So you can see everybody putting love. Thumbs up, please. You can see everybody putting thumbs up. As simple as that is a good environment for us to allow engagement from the learners. Now Dr. Arif is giving me okay. So those are the things that we need to be thinking of, be creative. When we talk about physical classroom, this is even more challenging because after a while, 1 year, 2 years, they are very much comfortable behind the screen and a lot of gaming and whatnot. In schools, they become very passive. I do have students who are teachers in schools, and we have these materials, innovative approaches in designing materials for language teaching and learning, and they have started to look into giving the students to choose their own avatar. They come to class as someone else, okay, but not themselves. They can create their own avatar, and when they talk about something, they are in a different world, like somebody else. They are not them. So those kind of things, as example as that. And even if we were to talk about simple activities, we need to somehow assist the students in probably it's not because of they don't want to be active. Maybe they have challenges in terms of the vocabulary, or who knows, when they open their mouth, they speak like a native. You never know because they play game a lot at home. It's just that you need something to switch on the button to make them speak. So maybe you need to put up an image which is relevant to them, write a word on the whiteboard which is very much relevant to them, just trigger for them to open their mouth and speak. Those are the things that we as an educator or as a teacher, we need to study. And when Dr. Arif mentioned about meaningful learning just now, I always mention this to my students. I say, when we come to class, the first week itself, I post this poll with the students because I want to know what is meaningful learning to them. I post this in our Telegram. Tell me, what do you consider as meaningful learning? There are 7. Active, according to Prandi et al., create active, collaborative, conversational, contextualized, reflective, intentional, and constructive. So I make them pick which one do you find is meaningful. So then based on their answers of the majority, I design the whole semester with what they believe is meaningful. If they say it is collaborative, so I have to make sure everything is a lot of collaborative activity. If they say for them meaningful learning is contextualized, so I have to design that group. Basically, even though we are teaching one course to different types of group, every group may have different perceptions about meaningful learning. So it has to be catered according to their needs. Other than that, I think a lot of things need to be explored. Teachers, don't be afraid of experimenting. Keep on experimenting. The learners are yours. Experiment with them. Play around. Enjoy the moment. As I said, take simple thing as achievement. Then it builds your confidence, number 1. Number 2, you can see some sort of progressions as in effective and meaningful teaching and learning process. Those are my takes. Yeah, over to you, Dr. Roh.
Thank you very much, Dr. Harwati. Yeah, if I could sum it in a very short word, probably you have to go creating classroom relationship, so that and students believe in smart partnership, okay, and building but you still have to have like command and control in that situation, right? You as a teacher still command and control, but building rapport and trust the students so that they will be with you, okay? We have remaining 20 minutes, about 90 minutes time of
Dr. Abdullah, I just want to add one technique. Recently I used this, and then the student switch on the camera. Okay, I introduce it as McDonald's Panda Food coupon. I actually announced today I will give you 5 Panda Food McDonald coupon. But the first one, Prosperity Burger, you can have this if you ask question on camera with a smart tie, with a smart attire, with a smart question and everything. And then you can see everybody on camera because they would like to have the Prosperity Burgers. If you just ask it using not on, you did not on your camera, you will be entitled for apple pie, something like that. So you can see that everybody on the camera. So just a small rewards to encourage them.
It's for real. They will be getting the Prosperity Burger as well, right? It's for real.
Yes, I give it the Panda Food coupon, and they can claim it and so on, because this is where sometimes we go beyond theories. Anything that works, anything that make you excited for your own class. Sometimes you feel bored also, isn't it? Being a professor almost 27 years, you need to be something like you feel bored also with your own teaching and so on. So this is where you can see that small things, but it will give high impact. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Yeah, that's relationship. Yeah, building up relationship. Yeah. Okay. The remaining time. About 70 minutes to go. I would. We have questions online, and Prof just managed to type it. Probably you can elaborate. Ella is from China, from Hebei, is it? Yeah, from China. So we have viewers from all over the world today. Maybe Prof would like to elaborate on Ella's questions. Her questions that she teach public speaking classes where it requires strong intense interaction among the classmates. Yeah. So, Prof, would you like to elaborate on that?
Yeah, what I can do, because I have a few students who are actually doing research, also PhD research related to public speaking. And then of course, one of the suggestion that I suggest to you is using YouTube, but you did mention that in China, you cannot actually use YouTube. So what you can do is that find other similar application like YouTube that can be accessed in China, or you can actually easily ask the students to record their public speaking and then upload it into your any learning management system that you have in China, and then put it in a forum so everybody can criticize it. And then, of course, remember one thing, okay, when you start to allow the other students to comment on other student works, you have to introduce rules and regulation. You have to use a rule and regulation, because you don't want the student be demotivated when other friends comments their public speaking video. Okay, what you can do is that you have to introduce rules of regulation. In these activities, use a proper words to give comment, give a constructive comment with suggestion. This thing you have to tell your student, because they did not know how to make comments to other people. And indirectly, by infusing this kind of rule or regulation, you already build their values, the way that they communicate among other, the way that they're going to comment on other people's works. Because usually we cannot actually train them. If we teach something like technical subject, we don't have times to teach them about values. But through our assignment, by infusing this kind of rule or regulation, then you can start to see that they are really good in terms of giving constructive comment. So what you can do, Ella, is that try to find a similar application, or if you don't have a similar application, you can easily ask them to record using the handphone, the public speaking, and then mark it as version 1, post it in any forums that you have in your learning management system, and ask the student, other peers to comment, constructive comment, give guidelines sometime to make a comment, give guidelines or give rubrics for the other students to comment in terms of element that they should comment. Is it the voice is clear, the grammar is correct, the body language is what, and so on. So easily, if you would like to mark the assignments or personal peer public speaking by your student, you can just easily comment by peers. Then easily you can just give mark according to you based on certain points and rubric and assessment point. This is what I can suggest to you, because I have 2 students who did a PhD research in public speaking. One is using YouTube, another one is using online forum discussion as a platform for the peers peers learning in terms of public speaking, and it's a very good interesting finding, and it boosts up confidence, and also you can see the improvement of the public speaking skills among the students. Okay, thank you.
That's very interesting, that we instructors can manipulate learning process, extending it among peers, looking at each other, developing at the same time. Probably they will learn something from each other as well, and they can also understand the way instructor assess that kind of students. So I would use the term probably multiple learning advantages by doing that, co-assessing peers in classroom. Any other thing would like to add on?
Dr.
Yeah.
I would like to react to this teacher from Cikgu Alisa.
Yeah, secondary school. Yeah.
Yes. I think I mean all the panelists have mentioned about it, and then I think it's I can just add a few more. Basically, I can think about four things need to be done. Number one, before we move to the 4 items, just to understand whether or not it's totally online learning or it's going to be like blended learning. So if it is blended learning or online learning or face-to-face for that matter, what I can suggest to Cikgu Alisa or Teacher Alisa here is that you need to have 4 things. Number one, you need to have, the students need to have the access to materials. Right, whatever is in the class, whatever it is online, the students need to have access. It's not during the class time, but outside the class time. So the students able to access. If not, you have passive students. They will never going to discuss this later on with the teams or teachers and peers. Number two, this is what I did with my students, even though it's secondary, higher learning students, but I think it's workable. Students need to be connected. I would say it's need to be connected community. You have WhatsApp group, you have Telegram group. Telegram is one of the best. Okay, so for example, when you have this connected community, and I always have them, and I made it sure that it is going to be an open communication. Any question for that matter, you need to post it in the Telegram group rather than you text me individual. So whatever it is, the idea is that the students, the other friends can actually help out to answer the questions. So most probably, if you're talking about, if I would say they're sending me a question, I said, okay, why don't you properly retype your question so that you have a good, correct sentence structure. So the friends can always help. No, this is just to help. But of course, before we have to have that, the idea of confidence, the idea of classroom, apa tadi? Classroom, you together in the classroom. I miss out.
Relationship.
Yes, classroom relationship. Yeah, relationship words very hard to digest actually. But then again, so we have access to materials. We have the connected community. We should have what we call as multimodal learning, right? So we have multimodal learning, teaching and learning. The learning. By the way, for example, learning, it can be like individual, it can be pair work, group work. Basically, we have discussed this before, right? So this is what I'm looking at in terms of multimodal learning. So the students may not be able to work with other people, individual pair work or group work. So you give them individual tasks. See which one they prefer more. So that goes back to the meaningful learning just now. So you have the 7, pick one. So which one the students, the whole groups agrees to that. So let's play on that, right? So you don't have to have, you don't have to cover everything. Whatever the theory says that, okay, you need to have three facets, or you have to cover all. No, I don't think so. I think you need to look at whether it's really realistic or not, right? So that's number 3. And number 4, this is always be my my focus as well. So we need to have what we call as friendly assessment. For secondary students. I know nowadays SPM, whatever test that they have in schools, I don't actually know how many type of tests that they have now, but I will always go for friendly assessment. So when you have friendly assessment, you have people who's willing to be assessed, to join in and to help out the students, and the students also, they don't feel threatened. So these are the 4 things I would like to share with Alisa and the rest. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you very much, Dr. Arif, right? We have like 9 minutes to go. Now I'd like to open if anyone, any viewers can assess this. If you would like to ask questions, you can also type, you can also turn on your camera and ask questions to us. Dr. Harwati, you would like to say something about maybe, add on to it?
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Abdullah. I think with this integration of technology, what maybe it is very difficult if we were to tap on policy, education system and whatnot. But perhaps as a teacher, what we can do is to leverage what we have in facilitating learning with the use of technology. And what our main intention here is to make our students learn rather than just come to school without having that enthusiasm of learning. And probably additionally, what I would love to see probably in the future is I think it is high time for us to also look at the digital Bloom's taxonomy, because as for now, what we have is very much of the Bloom's taxonomy, but very little. I wouldn't say it is not fair for me to say that it is very little, but it's just based on my own experience. I think it is very little for us to open a space for us to accept this Bloom's digital taxonomy, because why not in classroom nowadays, if we were to ask our students to tag something, to annotate, probably to tweet, why not? Because those are the digital verbs or vocabularies that is very much relevant to today's education, because we are now no longer talking about education 3.0 or 4.0, we are looking at education 5.0, and we have a lot of web 3.0 coming in, especially in using artificial intelligence. We look at as what Dr. Arif says about mixed reality. We still trying to champion ourselves in virtual reality as well as augmented reality and new reality coming in, which is the mixed reality. So we have to catch up with all this space, and I think we have to review. It's high time for us to review again our Bloom's taxonomy and give some space for this. May not be all, probably to begin with, maybe 20%, maybe 30% of the whole education system to somehow allow this Bloom's digital taxonomy when it comes to learning with our learners. And therefore teachers probably are more have more opportunities to experiment with the learners, to integrate technology, because I do agree at times a teacher will have to like complete syllabus, so they couldn't be bothered about integrate technology, not integrate technology, or whatever, as long as they have finished the syllabus and prepare their students for examination. And on top of that, probably we have to also look at a little bit of theory coming in, which is teachers TPAC, technological pedagogical content knowledge, because we need to somehow align TPAC with SAMR, substitution, augmentation, modification, and definition, as well as the Bloom's taxonomy, whereby I wouldn't say not so good teacher, but a very ordinary teacher can only touch surface learning, but a very successful teacher could go into deep learning, whereby if we were to look at this SAMR, maybe I can just type after this, SAMR, we have substitution at the very basic level, we have augmentation, we have modification, and we have redefinition. If teachers could go up to transforming learning, which involve modification and redefinition, it allows more higher order thinking skills. And this is where the Bloom's taxonomy, where we want our students, it is always about having our students to achieve higher order thinking skills, could actually be aligned, where our students are more of the creator, because they have a lot of evaluating skills, creating skills and whatnot. But of course, again, go back to the TPAC, where teachers need to be well trained, to be upskills, upskilling, reskilling need to be done from time to time, because technology change over time, every seconds, every minute. And not to sell Apple, because we teachers, we need to always get certifications from time to time. Like myself and Dr. Arif, we are Apple teachers, we are Apple professional learning providers. So we are encouraging educators to get certification, because then you know you can upgrade yourself, your skills from time to time. Yeah, we know where we are when we have these certifications, because there is always rooms for us to learn from time to time. Yep. To add on. Thank you, Dr. Over to you.
Yeah, interesting. We have digital Bloom taxonomy. Right? Yeah, we are familiar with Bloom taxonomy, but the digital one is something that, yeah, interesting is coming. I'd like to ask finally, maybe the final questions. I'd like to ask some philosophical questions, Prof. How do you foresee the future? You are involved in future ready curriculum. To give you the background, I have my 6-year-old boy, just barely can able to read and to write, and he explored a lot. Like he had his gadget iPad, and right now Mecha Moto something, the movie is coming. So he said he Googled already when it is available in Kuantan. He asked me to go and buy ticket. It amazed me that he said he Googled himself. And he even answered his sister's TikTok, replying as if he's the sister. So how do you foresee the future generation kind of learning? Yeah, Prof. Yeah.
Okay. What do I expect for, especially for higher eds to move into it, is that especially I believe your kids must be under alpha generation. So this generation is actually already I think know where to get knowledge and learn. They actually learn beyond what they have been learned in the classroom. So what I'm expecting is that along the way, the school, the transformation of the school, and especially higher ed, we in higher ed especially, we need to transform our curriculum. I'm expecting, but when I suggest this, usually people from MQA say that yes, Prof, is already there, but the university don't want to apply it and implement it. I'm expecting that university will be more open in terms of curriculum. I'm actually expecting that university are offering something like I call it as cost less curriculum, something like the program is actually offering multi disciplines of knowledge, not just like what we have right now. If you would like to be an engineer, then you enroll into an engineering program. You would like to be a doctor, you enroll into a medical program. So what I'm expecting is actually a loose kind of curriculum. But of course, if we talk with the accreditation bodies, then they say how to accredit this kind of program, Prof, and so on. So but try to be open a little bit, try to actually implement the concept of uberizations of educations in the higher ed. I'm expecting a new model for tertiary educations. I able to just implement it, but not all, just part of it, because when I was the dean of the faculty, so I actually handle in terms of program curriculum. So what I did is that I made sure that at least some of the elective courses in the program is an open elective, like what we have in most of other university in other countries. They have an open elective, which is actually, this one we can do it up to 30% of the curriculum, because if we do it more than that, and it will affect the nomenclature of the program. This is what we have now in under our MQA and under other accreditation bodies. Next, I'm expecting that the new partnership must come in higher ed. Like, for example, what has been done before this under the Ministry of Education, the LIMA. I believe the LIMA is actually a very excellent examples of industrial player has been chipped in together. Apple, Microsoft, and Google has collaborated with Ministry of Education into a project of the LIMA. And the LIMA 2.0, if you access the LIMA 2.0, I'm really impressive. But of course, what we need now is that to encourage, to train all the teachers to use the LIMA intensively, because everything is in the LIMA. It's a very holistic platform. And I believe higher ed also must start to collaborate with this industry player, because we don't have enough money sometimes to invest into this kind of into application that up to Microsoft level, Apple's and Google, and they also have what you call it, in their portfolio, they have something like functions that they will give service to the university. I believe this year Google introduced the project of Gemilang. Gemilang is actually a scholarship. UTM actually chip into the project. Gemilang is a scholarship where Google give free trainings up to 3 months to final year students, and they will get certificates and badges as a top of the existing curriculum. And if they're really excellent in when after the 3 months of training, Google will hire them working with Google or channel them to Apple, Microsoft, and so on. So this is free. They give it 100 places to each university, and it's totally free. What you need is that you need to chip into it. This is where I believe, because I involved in dealing with Google's running our open distance learning program, and because at first we running using our in-house server, in-house facilities, equipment, and line. And when we want to go beyond what we plan, we want to go more, we want to increase our enrollment, we want to give a very best experience to all our open distance learners, then this is where we try to collaborate with Google at a very reasonable price. A very reasonable price. Of course, at first they offered quite high, but then we can nego with them and discuss with them a very reasonable price, with where I can see that they would like to assist us. But of course, they are a company, they need to have some profit also. But the profit, I believe, is very reasonable profit. Comparing if you alone is the one who going to invest into it and so on. Because I have been deal with Google's, Apple's, Microsoft, and even Huawei to see the, even Samsung, and to see the potentials that what is the best. I'm not a Google agent, don't worry. Okay. but this is where I can see that they actually have the sectors that looking at educations, and which is actually, if we did not collaborate with them, I think in the near future might be the alpha generation will enroll into a Google university, and with the skills that they have, of course the private, I think, industry will hire them. Might be the government's not hire them. Publics, I think the government's not hire them, because we are looking at the formal credentials, not the informal credential. But I believe all the tax player there is actually introducing the informal credential, which is actually what the industry wants. So the new partnership, new models, and also we start the transformation of pedagogy, and I'm expecting also the fresh approach of assessment. Okay, I'm kind of disagree on the concept of examination. I'm actually totally pro towards alternative assessment, because through assessment, student will learn something. Assessment is about improving learning. And I've been enrolled in a programs, like I mentioned, I did my master's in US. Professors allowed me to submit any assignment more than one time. The first time that I submitted it, they give marks. From 10, I will give I get 7/10. Then they allowed me to submit for the second time. So if I submit a second time, if I make improvement, they give me 9/10. If I want to submit it again, I can submit it again. So I use that in my class, and I can see the students develop very well. And I don't have any problem in my class. Everybody will get A. Of course, I have to answer to the university, because they tend to love the normal curve, isn't it? Why do you
The
put
bell curve, Prof. The bell curve, Prof.
why do you put the normal distributions to higher ed? Because the one who entered the higher ed is the best student, isn't it? It must be positive skew. So this is where I always query to them, and at the end they accept it. As long as you have a rationale why your student got A, and I try to promote more on performance-based assessment. Students do not need to compete among each other. They are competing with themselves. So that's why you are comparing their performance with your criteria of performance, not to others. So this is what I'm expecting for aspect pedagogy, the transformation of pedagogy, the partnership, the new models, and also the fresh approach of assessment. That's all. Thank you very much, Dr.
Thank you very much, Prof. All right. It's lovely, we can, we actually, the more you mention about it, the more questions that we have. We would like to know more, but we don't really have luxury of time. 12:06. Maybe I'd like to get to the panelists, maybe in a very short, would you like summary, maybe your last what would like to share with the audience today, Dr. Harwati?
I think Prof have summed up everything, and I agree. I would say just be positive about it. As you said, technology is here to stay. We have to always be positive, and a change of mindset is very important. That's it. All the best for everybody. You are the champion of your own lesson.
Dr. Arif?
Yeah, same like Dr. Hawati, everything has been summarized by Prof. And then, but if I were to add in, most probably, facilitators, teachers, lecturers, I think what we can do here, talking about online learning or technology, so we might want to equip ourselves with the information like instructional design. ID is very, very important. It goes through the pedagogy as well. But the more you explore on ID, maybe we can have another forum like this later on. So focus on ID. I think it helps us a lot. That goes to whatever we have discussed today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, finally, we have got very fruitful discussions. A lot of things we learned, the essence, the gist, the thing we learned today is a lot actually. A lot of new concept I learned today. Hopefully we will have like second time. We can continue. We can have more sessions like this in the future. Hopefully, inshallah. And I like to again express our gratitude, Center for the Languages, gratitude to Professor Dr. Zaida, Dr. Harwati for your time today. I think the viewers have learned a lot, and we have viewers from as far as China and not just Malaysia. So I believe may this activity that we do today become one of our amal jariyah, inshallah, so that it's for the sake of for our nations, for our students, for us, and for everyone here. Dr. Ali, do we have a photography session? Yes. Okay, I'd like to invite all viewers. Could you please turn on your camera? We would like to have a group photo before we end the session. Technical team, with your assistance. Do we have it? Because my screen, yeah. We have 67 participants currently online. Could everyone turn on your camera, please?
Okay, I'll try to take pictures. Ready? Okay, smile, everybody. Okay. One more. All right then.
Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. So this is the end. Hopefully there will be another sessions like this, and we will let you know once we organize another one, inshallah. Thank you very much once again. Have a nice day. So we'll see you next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Salam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Salam. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.